My Nix Builder Pros have been my favorite work boots since I got them for the last 4 years. Now, these guys have been with me on job sites in 3 different states, on railroads, in buildings, in traffic. I mean, they've been with me through it all. As a matter of fact, they're pretty much due for a resole. There's a mosquito around here. Before we continue, I just want to thank recent subscribers, Junchi Swope, Sweatshirt Wizard, and Nathan KR. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. It means the world. What I love about the Builder Pros is not only the durability, but the fact that they're comfortable when I put them on. There was a break-in period, but once you get through that, they really are very comfortable. But there's also sort of a security that you get with something with such heft. You know, it really holds you in. You feel anchored to the ground. When you stand on a ladder, you feel like you're secure in your boots. And it's those little things that make them still my favorite work boots of all time. Now, that being said, there are some drawbacks to the Builder Pros, especially in the 10-inch tall. They take a long time to lace up. Even when you do the 2 speed hooks at a time technique, it still does take some time in the morning. So that's something you have to sort of budget into your morning before you go to work. There's that, and also, as I mentioned, that break-in time, it's no joke. There were definitely times where I would wear them in the morning, especially when I first got them, and I would have to change them out at lunch. You know, the first day or 2 I could power through and really try to just push it, but after a while I just couldn't bear it anymore, and I would switch them out. After about a month or so, they started to become really comfortable. At this point, they're like slippers. So when Nix introduced their tanker boots, which are essentially a Builder Pro, but without the laces, I was intrigued. So I got my hands on a pair, and I've been putting them to work for the last month. Not only at my normal day job as an electrician, but also here at my 1800s farmhouse, where I'm trying to renovate a couple of rooms. So I used them when I was doing everything from demolition, taking down horsehair plaster, wood lath, and blown-in insulation. A nasty job.
God.
This is the old room that I used to film in, believe it or not. And now it's getting a bit of a renovation, and whoever had it before me actually dropped this ceiling here about 16 inches down. And this wasn't uncommon back in the day when houses were equipped with electric heat, which this one used to be, till I changed it over to propane. They would drop down the ceiling in order to try to keep the heat down.
To gutting a bathroom, chipping up tile, and putting in spray foam insulation. I'll be using these when I finally sheetrock and tape and get the place all painted too. After all, what good is a work boot if you don't actually work in it? First off, these are 10 inches tall, just like my Builder Pros. They feature a composite toe since we can't have steel toes working around electricity. And to be honest with you, steel gets really cold in the winter. I never liked wearing steel-toed boots. Anyhow, that's also why these particular tankers look so chunky. The non-safety toe version will be much sleeker since the composite toe is actually the biggest of the bunch. They're also in Nix 1964 leather, but this is the rough-out version, which actually kind of feels like kudu to me. You know, that it's thick, but it's also nice and flexible with the benefits of rough-out leather, which is my work boot leather of choice.
Alright, so you want to see something kind of freaky? I almost kind of don't want to touch this. What we have here is, hang on. We got knob and tube, which is just kind of taped to Romex.
They're wearing honey Vibram soles, which give up a bit in durability in favor of a more forgiving rubber compound. Now, I found that this particular sole is second only to a wedge for comfort while standing on concrete, and my knees at 40, they aren't what they were when I was 20. Finally, these were made to my Nix Fit profile, so I knew how they were going to fit right out of the box.
Check these out. Old pair of lineman pliers. It says Klein and Sons on it.
My first impressions were very positive. They buckled up much quicker than the laced Builder Pros, and once I adjusted the straps to fit, I didn't notice any heel slip like I expected to. They do a nice job of keeping your foot in place, though you can't get them as tight as you can a laced boot. The lack of eyelets and laces in the front of the boot meant that flexing was a lot easier, and break-in seemed to be drastically reduced. Now, it did take some time to get the tankers feeling really comfortable, but probably less than half the time of my Builder Pros. There's a sense of ease about the tankers, and it's really kind of hard to articulate. They don't grab your foot like a boa constrictor. Instead, it almost feels like a Wellington or a muck boot slip-on, but with more security. I'm not afraid of stepping out of them when I'm in deep mud, but they walk the line between two sensations that I thought were mutually exclusive. A side benefit to not having laces is if you're working with sparks or doing hot work of any kind, there's no laces to catch any falling slag, so maybe this is of particular interest if that's the kind of work that you do. The 1964 Roughout is probably my favorite Nix leather yet. I had heard great things about it, but this is the first time I've experienced it firsthand. It's not nearly as fuzzy as normal Roughout, but it does have a noticeable texture, which is very nice, and the hand feel is soft, which I think also lends itself to the comfort factor. I also noticed that the straps are becoming nice and floppy the more I use them. Like any good leather, I'll bet that this just gets better with time. If I had to find a drawback to this particular design, it's probably the open lacing near the toe. It's a spot where dirt and debris could get stuck. Although, with the fully gusseted tongue, nothing will actually get into the boot. My problem with it is purely aesthetic. When your pant leg is covering up the top portion, it just looks like your boots are unlaced. I'm not sure what the solution to this would be. I mean, a third strap would probably put these in goth boot territory, and laces would sort of go against the whole design of them, so I guess it just comes with the territory of converting a laced boot. The overall design is not a tanker boot replica. Original tanker boots were designed to be laceless for safety concerns while operating a military tank. Now, a lot of those benefits do translate to working people though, so speed, the lack of hazardous snags on your laces, and being able to get in and out of them even when they're caked in mud or grime or whatever, they definitely translate. Still, I have to ask the question, why would you want a pair of these? What would be the benefits of buying a pair of tanker work boots over Builder Pros? Well, if you value speed and comfort, if you don't or can't wear laces due to the hazards of your job, or you just flat out like the look of these over the Builder Pros, then a good argument can be made for the tankers. Now, I for one would love to see the tanker design with the straps and everything in a more sleek boot, one that wasn't a dedicated work boot. I think that would be a really cool balance between an engineer and a work boot somewhere in the middle, which is tending to be kind of my sweet spot for my daily boots. That would be really neat to see. Hey, before you go, did you ever see the video that I did about cheap versus expensive work boots? I actually cut a pair of old crappy Brahmas in half, and I think that really illustrates why boots like this are worth your money. Anyway, go check that one out if you haven't already. Now, Nix has generously provided me with a limited time discount code for you if you decide the tankers are exactly what you need for your job. That'll be in the description below if you want to. Go ahead and use that if you decide these are the boots for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.